Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speed Report here on Twitch Monster 27, and for you guys on YouTube, there on 105 The Drive. My name is Sam Cook, and I'm here bringing you the Speed Report for both last week and this week. I'm pretty sure those that have been following the Speed Report this season and noticed that we did not have a Speed Report last season or last week. We're here to bring you the Speed Report and kind of catch up on what's been going on. I'm joined alongside Fractured Chain, Cup
Yep,
Series
yep,
20,
yep,
number 20 driver.
yep.
Yep.
We got a
Welcome.
second place. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
not to brag.
Anyway, as usual, guys, you can check all our information out there on YouTube side on 105 The Drive. And for our broadcasts, you can watch the races on either 105 The Drive or KMR TV 105 The Drive, the official broadcast station for everything KMR. Also, be sure to check out our website, www.thegamingriff.com, the official website for KMR. Later on, hopefully, we'll be joined by Paintbrush, who's going to join us up here. Our chat is open, so please be sure to hit us up in the chat so that we can, obviously, we can
Okay, give me one
chat
second.
here, and no problem. And while he gets those things figured out, we'll go ahead and get right into it. We've got, first off, breaking news about our new caution rule that was actually instituted last week due to what happened the week before last with all of the penalties that were assessed in that race. So now, whenever the caution comes out, there will be an immediate radio clear. So we're encouraging everyone, please, radio clear when the caution comes out. This is for all three series. Caution flag comes out, it's immediate radio clear so that everyone can hear the call. And I want to make this clear. Obviously, it's also on the official rules. So you check those out on the website, thegamingriff.com. You can check out the official rules. But here's the official rules. When the caution comes out, never, ever, ever assume that pit road is open. It is not open. Pit road is open when the lobby host or the league host says it is. If it's me, then wait for the call from me. If I'm not there, the backup is Paintbrush. Paintbrush will give the order on when pit road is open. If Paintbrush is not there, it'll be Fractured. Fractured will give the call on when pit road is open. So please never assume it is open. But to help out with that, we'll have a radio clear in which direction will be given. A lot of times pit road is immediately closed to ensure that the lucky dog is given, and pit road will not be open until the lucky dog is close enough to pit with the lead group. Then pit road will be declared open, and then from that point forward, you're good to go. So that's just a reminder on that. But again, I want to give a shout out to Amari, who mentioned that as a suggestion, and it was definitely a good suggestion, and hopefully that will prevent any miscommunications as to when pit road is open or closed, to avoid further penalties, because penalties will be assessed no matter where we are in the race. At that point, penalties will be assessed. Also, because we're declaring a radio clear will be mentioned a couple times for those that may be still communicating over the chat. After 3 times of declaring radio clear from the officials, if there's still chatter, then it's going to be a points penalty, because we're saying it right now. It's going to be a points penalty because we need to give direction out while we are pacing. We don't need to be pacing 10 laps trying to get everyone quiet to open pit road. So we're just going to say it a couple times, and then at that point, all those that are still chatting, communicating over the radio, will get a points penalty. And once we get everything situated, we get pit road open and all of that stuff, then of course you can chat away. But until that point, please listen to the direction from the officials that are present. Follow the direction that you're given. Everyone has fun when we do so. So I hope that everyone will adhere to that, and that's going to definitely contribute to the smoothness of each of our races. Also, The penalties. I'm pretty sure some have noticed they've gotten black flags, and some have noticed how the points have been reflected on that for the next week. And that is how the points penalties will be, the points deductions will be added now. So for anyone who receives a black flag, they were unable, receives a black flag, and it's reviewed. The black flag wasn't given during the race. The race was reviewed. Black flags should have been given. They are given. You'll see it reflected in the next week's points. Or if you receive an aggressive driving penalty, the league is going to review the aggressive driving penalty. The penalty will be enforced on the next week's points, not that week's points. So you're going to receive a reflection of that. There's going to be something new for those that have gotten penalties. Unfortunately, they have probably seen that reflection. So here's an update on that. And that will be listed also anytime you receive a penalty from now on. It will be listed on the official website on the news page under more news. You will receive that, and then any questions you might have regarding that, to proceed from there. That will be your cue. Instead of receiving a direct communique from me or from an official, it'll just be on the website. All right, so now let's get to the fun stuff. Update on the truck series. Well, here's our update. Wes has won all of the races for the round so far and has just been winning and doing more winning. Fractured.
He won? Why? I didn't know that. What?
So, is this our champion, or what were we looking at here for the truck series?
I try to give other drivers the benefit of the doubt. Here's what's going to happen first. We're going to have to go to Gateway. Now, we go to Gateway, somebody else is going to have to win. It's going to have to be foreign, and I'm just eliminating Terrier at this point, because I think it's no chance. But I think foreign has to go to Gateway, and he has to win, and Wes has to get third or fourth. One of the two. That makes this a one-position battle going into Daytona, and Daytona can go anybody's way. It could go Wes's way, but it could also go foreign's way. So with that being said, I want to say it's not, closed and that there's still a fight, and there is still a fight, but I think it's hard to deny how good Wes has been so far this season, and especially in the chase. I mean, he has turned it up to another level in the chase, so with that being said, I think it's closed, and I think Wes is going to easily walk away with the championship.
Yeah, man, I tell you, heartbreak is what Terrier is experiencing right now. Getting the DNF right after the in-race report, getting the DNF absolutely killed his chances at a championship. So we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but just as a glimpse here, what does Terrier need to take away from the remainder of this season?
Well,
obviously he's in the next two series, so what does he need to take away from the truck series?
I don't know if he has to take away a whole lot. The dude did amazing in the second half, and I mean amazing in the second half of the season. There's nothing to really get his head up high. There's obviously places that you can, improve on, and I think one of them is going to have to be his short track and his mile-and-a-half speed. It's just not quite there with Foreign and West. However, I still feel pretty confident about him heading into next season. I feel really good, even at his Cup Series chances, to be honest. I think he could make the chase in the Cup Series, but, really, Terrier has done an amazing job in the second half of the season. You can't say enough about it, but he's just got to go into Gateway, get as many points as possible, and see where he's at Daytona. Obviously, he can win Daytona. We've seen every driver really win at Daytona, or be able to win at Talladega and Daytona. So with that being said, I think it's going to be just kind of have fun these last two races. That's what you got to have.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And while we're sitting here chatting, I just want to give a big shout out. Thank you guys, Wes, Dale Jr. fan, Amari, and Hindu there in the chats there. Thanks a lot for tuning in. So back to our battle up here, the top three here. We know that Pennzoil didn't have a good race either, which really affected this battle because that's one less competitor you're going to have up there battling in the top three. So let's get back to this foreign whip versus Wes. I have a question. We talked about it all season long this season, but does Foreign have a chance if he cannot win in one of these last two races?
His chance is gonna be if he can grab second place finishes like I'm sure he's getting tired of in everything. So Foreign basically what he's gonna have to do is ride the coattails in second. So if he doesn't win, it's very unlikely. But Gateway's a short track. Late race restarts are a thing. Lots of wrecks are a thing as well. So West could get into some trouble there. That's just something that can happen. It's a short track. And then Daytona, it's anybody's game. You don't have to win Daytona. We've seen many drivers win the championship at Daytona in this league that haven't necessarily won a lot. So with that being said, I have to give this to. It's very unlikely, but I still think that you're going to have to win one of these races, at least Gateway, if you're going to be able to beat West.
And have help. I mean, we've seen in the past how help from drivers that are not in the chase have really helped the guys battling in the chase. So if West gets into trouble, maybe Foreign can't win. But if Pennzoil wins and Foreign finishes second, if really Pennzoil, Wool Tortoise may get hot, get him another win, and everything, and Foreign finish second, and then headed into maybe Daytona. West gets in a late race caution, Foreign does not, and Josh wins, but Foreign finishes second. Maybe stretch, you really have to roll the dice, cross the fingers, whatever you want to say here, but there could be a possibility. But I tell you, this is where the ability to win, this is where that comes in right here. And West has definitely shown he can win. Foreign, not so much yet. So we'll have to see, man. This is going to be a tight battle. 2 races left in the Truck Series. And the Truck Series will crown a champion. All right, so now let's look at this battle down below here for this hot seat battle. Josh was not present in either Michigan or there at Atlanta. Zach Attack was. Treshawn's got a little bit of showtime there, and even Tons had the opportunity out there to run some. So out of these drivers here, who do you like? This is the future of the Truck Series right now. So who you liking out of this group of drivers down here?
Well, I mean, I would say Zach, but he's got to show up to races, and I don't know if I have a real confidence in that. But Trey Sean is definitely my guy right now. I think he's done an excellent job in the races that he's running. He may not be finishing the highest, but he's putting in some pretty good races. There's obviously some room for improvement, but it's not that far off. So I have to say Trey Sean's probably the one that could be a top contender for the Truck Series next season to win the championship.
Really? That's interesting, man. I tell you, I like Tons. Tons has really gotten a shot to run. He finished pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, I meant Tons. Jeez, what in the world am I talking about? TNT.
Okay, that sounds better. Zach Attack also looked really good in that 17 truck. Getting a third place there at Atlanta. Really taking advantage of his opportunities, and he's one of the ones that has not did not get a call up yet to the X Series, but because of the fact that Tons and Treshawn did not get or were hot seats in the X Series as well, they will be able to run both the trucks and the X Series next season. So you're looking at the future of the Truck Series right here. We'll keep an eye on that. A lot of returning drivers as well. So just remember that next season, even though you're seeing right now the roster looks full, you got plenty of hot seats. Remember, there will be an expansion in the Truck Series. And so if you want to run, if you're listening in and you want to be a part of the series next season, please message me. If you have friends that want to be a part of the series next season, message them and have them message me. Bring them along for next season, and they will have a shot here because you got Zach with call up points already. So he may get a quick call up, may open up a spot if he decides I just want to stick with my call up and run in the X series. Opens up a spot, so we'll see how that goes. For more on that, be sure to stay tuned on Speed Reports through the weeks, especially as the Truck Series ends. There'll be more about what happens for next season, how that all is going to work. So you'll get a better understanding there. All right, so that is your Truck Series. The Truck Series, we'll get back to that because they're going to head on to Gateway, and in the meantime, we'll go over to the X Series, and the regular season continues. So the way it's looking right now is, what's going to happen is the trucks will be done. The Cup Series will more than likely be done. The X Series will still be racing. They'll be in their chase. You look at the points there. Fractured Hair Bear obviously is going to have to return to the car this season if he's going to maintain the points lead here, because Amari is only 16 points out. Beloved has caught Hair Bear. He's only 5 points out. And even Foreign is less than a win away in points to that points lead. So, Fractured, do you like that idea for Hair Bear? And what does he need to do now this week, getting back in the car, to kind of regain that momentum to prepare for the chase?
Well, it's Sonoma, a track that Hair Bear probably doesn't particularly like, but we have to look back. I don't know if it's the same Sonoma. I don't think it is, but we have to look back last season when the Cup Series went to Sonoma, and Hair Bear, I believe, notched himself a top 5 in that race. And you look back in the year before that, Hair Bear notched himself a top 5. He got 4th. So Hair Bear may not like Sonoma, but the dude has been mighty impressive at that track. So I have to say, I think if you're Hair Bear, you just got to kind of do what you normally do at Sonoma. Grab yourself a top 5 at the least. If you can grab yourself a top 5, you're going to have some momentum going into the chase. You might have something to work with. So with that being said, I think you really have to, if you're Hair Bear, just go out, do what you've been doing at Sonoma in the Cup Series, and carry over the X Series, and then you can see what's going on from there, and hopefully have enough momentum going into the chase, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's always when you talk about long layoffs like we've seen with Hair Bear missing the last couple weeks. Obviously, strategically, looking at the schedule, you're talking, let's see, with Sonoma being the final race. We're down here week 14. This will be the final race of the regular season no matter what. So then you've got 1, 2, 3 elimination race at Bristol, 1, 2, 3 elimination race at Kentucky, and then 1, 2, 3 your championship race is under the lights at Bristol. It would have been awesome to try to stretch that thing to Talladega with more space and more opportunity to try and get a win. But momentum, getting back in that mindset, I think Hair Bear does well to try to go out there and win that thing. And just, you've got nothing to lose. You're not going to lose anything. Go out there, try to win that thing, be aggressive, and see if where you're fitting in with these guys like Amari, who's had to push hard. Hindu's had to push really hard because, of course, his wins, because of his attendance, would be nullified. So he had to push hard to get into the chase. You got Pennzoil, who's in a good groove. You got Foreign, who's in a good groove. So see what you got against these guys that are already in rhythm, and then what you can expect coming into the chase, which will start at Daytona under the lights next weekend. So big deal with that, man. Finally. Good Lord.
Oh, my Lord. I mean, it'd be a shame if, Hair Bear, Beloved, Amari, Foreign, and Foreign didn't show, and Terrier didn't show up, wouldn't it? I mean, that'd just be heartbreaking.
But I'm pretty sure those guys like Zack Attack in the Truck Series over there, and these guys like Tons and Treshawn, then Mixer and all these guys, they would enjoy that because now that gives them one more week. They can use team points. They can, have a shot to win. And then all of a sudden, you never know. All of a sudden, you might have one of these guys sneak their way in. And speaking of that, let's talk about some sneaking going on. Dale Jr. has this pretty good lead over Woozy. Yeah, thank you all the subs out there that subbed this way to a good finish. Obviously, we know the Chase, he's not going to be able to do that, and I think he knows that. But right here, we have this little points gap here. First of all, is Dale safe with the points margin that he has on Woozy in this pack? Is he safe?
Yeah, I think he's pretty safe. Woozy is, I have a lot of confidence coming into him in this battle, but the last 3-4 weeks, Woozy has done terrible. I mean, it's rough to say anything else other than terrible. Woozy really has struggled a ton. And I don't know if having a bit of cup experience at Atlanta helped him any in the end, but yeah, Woozy has definitely shut something off that needs to be on still in that motor. And it's really hurted him these last couple weeks. But, there's obviously the way of Dale doesn't get a sub, Woozy shows up, gets a really good finish, a top 5, and he's in. I just don't see Woozy being able to get a top 5 in. Now, Wolfpack is not that far back. Certainly very vocal on the radio is Wolfpack. I don't know. I have a bit more confidence in him to get a top 5, but I still just don't see it. So right now, I think Dale's in a really safe position in that one car, I believe.
Yeah, I was looking at that, the gap there when I was officializing the points, and that really puts Dale in a great position. It takes the pressure off of Sonoma, which we know Dale is not really all that great at road courses. So, he definitely doesn't need any pressure going to Sonoma. I will say
this right now. Dale has, had some work schedule complications again, so he will not be in the car this week.
Okay, so that's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. All right, so it's a stretch. Well, honestly, none of these guys except for Woozy could force Dale out of the playoffs. Woozy has been to enough of the X Series races that if he were to win, it would essentially force Dale out.
If he wins,
and put Woozy in by win. If he wins, he's got a cup ride like automatically. I mean, it's just no, not really. Don't. But anyway, yeah. But that's the only chance. Wolfpack. Well, actually, no. Wolfpack 2 is miss. No, he's ran 11 out of 14. So no, Wolfpack another one who could essentially force Dale out. Josh has missed too many. Obviously, Mixer has not made enough. So really, Dale looks pretty good. And the regular season continues, guys. It's just that simple. You look at the team points. Obviously, because of the regular season, the team points battle is still existent. Well, it's still going on, but I mean, JR has just ran away with the points this season, and it's been awesome to see them, as a team be as solid as they have, and Dale been a part of that, and his subs, and Foreign obviously with his consistency, and Amari getting the victory lane every other race has certainly helped JR pull away in the team points. So they're going to be our eventual champion and next season start with plus 50 in the team points margin. So congratulations to them early, but no one's going to catch them. And again, there will be some changes to the roster potentially, so that'll mean spots for the X Series as well. So be sure to stay tuned for the speed reports in upcoming weeks as the regular season or as the playoffs come to a close. You're going to start hearing more about what's going to happen next season, and you'll begin to understand what spots will be open and how it works, because all of that will be laid out on the line. So that's our X Series. They will be at Sonoma, and they will be joined by the Cup Series. And this is where things get a little interesting here, for a lot of reasons here. But first, let's just talk about our Cup Series. And Fractured. It's going to be a new Sonoma. It's going to be a new look for the Sonoma race. What can we expect at this track and in this race?
Well, Ford 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna lock it there. I think Knight, Zesty, and Swift are going to be very, very, very good there. I think Payne even could potentially be one of those top 3. I'd say maybe even 4. But I really take interest with. I'm not really sure how that 72 is gonna be. You know, we see him do very well on the road course in the Truck Series, but that is the Truck Series. So I'm not sure where he will be, and I'm not sure where Slothy will be because the last time that we went to Sonoma, Slothy got a top 5. And the time before that, he got a top 5. So, Slothy is, he's better on the NASCAR heat road courses than he is the Forza ones, so that gives me a bit more confidence in him. If there's anybody that's going to be able to break up the Fords at the top, it's going to be him, I think. But West is not that far out. And even Ghost, if Ghost shows up, let's not even forget, this man in his first season in KMR won a lot of road courses. I think 3. I mean, it was most on the league. So you can never count Ghost out if he's able to show up. Is he going to be able to show up or no?
So I haven't heard anything saying that he wouldn't, so assume that he is going to.
So if he is going to be showing up, I think you have to add Ghost in there because Ghost is really good at the road courses, as we've seen many times in the past. So I think, Sonoma, new layout, that's going to, I think, shake things up. I don't think people are very used to that layout yet, so it's going to definitely make things a bit more complicated. And I'm probably going to hit every barrier in sight, but, it is what it is. And I think this week will be, it may be advertised as a Ford domination, but I think that battle for the mid-pack, especially those drivers that are heating up around the cut line for the chase, I think that's going to be a really interesting battle to look at.
All right. So the Cup Series is going to enter into its 3rd race of the round. Third race of the round. 6 races in this round. We've already got 2 winners, and that is Dopey and Zesty.
Zesty will not be showing up. I believe work is in his way, so he will not be showing up. I think that's what I remember hearing. So Zesty won't be here this week, so that could shake things up too.
Definitely, we'll get word on, or more than likely, we'll get word on who Nightfall as team captain of SHR has selected as a sub, and this is important. Obviously, who you get as a sub can affect this individual's points wise. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Obviously, I won't be in the car either this weekend again, so there will be a sub for the 27. But as far as I know, the rest of the team for CMR should be there. So hopefully we'll be able to make some recovery there. So let's talk about some of the individual drivers. Again, let's talk about Zesty and Dopey, though, because now that you've mentioned, okay, Dopey won't be there. There is no pressure for him.
Zesty won't be there. Dopey will.
Right, that's what I'm saying. For Zesty, there won't be any pressure unless, obviously, he misses the race completely and there's no sub. How does he, obviously with these 2 lock-ins, what does that mean for the round of 6 as far as, difficulty, as far as competitiveness, kind of getting a foregleam into what it's gonna look like?
Well, looking into the season, I think there's going to be some drivers that aren't in the Ford camp that are looking at next week instead of this week. I urge them not to, but I still think they will be. Listen, we going into Sonoma. This is new. Zesty and Zesty and Dopey are the 2 winners so far. So that's 2 of the SHR cars of the 4 that they say that they're going to make the championship round, which I wouldn't doubt that's going to happen. Omari has been good, but I don't feel confident in his road course ability. And here's where I have to struggle with Omari. Sonoma is just not as good as his teammates at the road courses. Daytona, anything can happen, but he hasn't been strong at restrictor plates. So then by then we're on race 4. ISM, I believe he won ISM, but I don't know. His teammates have been really good there. And then Bristol, Amari's path to making the championship, or making the championship, or the next round even, could be a bit rocky, even though he does have a bit of a cushion. These next 3 races could be a bit rough for him. But we have to take into account where Knight is in points right now, 10th. Not looking good. Now, if he wins, it's a complete shake-up, which I think he will. But It's really hard to tell, especially since we're only 3 races in. A couple races down the road, we can probably get a bit more of what to expect here. But that battle around the cut line is what I think I'm more focused on than really anything, because we know those guys that are going to be up in the front.
Yeah, but I tell you what is going to come into play here as we talk about this next round and everything. Obviously, as things get closer and closer to the next round, think about this. There are quite a few drivers. There are a few drivers in the SHR camp. There are quite a few drivers in other camps that have one of those aggressive driving penalties.
Yeah, one of those things.
And one of those things, and they're being called more and more frequently. And not to say that anything is going to be fabricated or anything, because KMR doesn't go for that.
No.
But it's, again, I make the analogy. It's like your star player. Everyone knows LeBron James, and everyone's familiar with Kobe Bryant because of his death, unfortunately. But
Go Kobe.
How it affects your strategy when you get two early fouls in the first quarter.
Can't be as
You
aggressive.
have to sit your star player, and then your star player comes back and gets another foul or another 2 fouls. And now late in the game, when you need to be aggressive, when you need to play hard, when you need to be physical, you can't. It affects that. Well, think about a scenario. What if Nightfall can't get it done at Sonoma? Then we head to Daytona and he can't get it done. And then we head to ISM and his teammate snatches one away.
And Bristol.
And then all of a sudden we go to Bristol, and even though he's good at Bristol, he is absolutely dominant at the road at the best driver in the league at these tracks. What happens if he gets caught up in a wreck, and then there's a late race restart, and now he's pushing to try to get to the front, and now all of a sudden he puts the bumper to somebody, and they unfortunately wreck, and then all of a sudden there's a aggressive driving call, and then all of a sudden, instead of going to the next round, he's getting hit with minus 50. I mean, it just all of those scenarios have to play in, and that's for everyone that has an aggressive driving penalty. It just affects how you have to race, and this is why staying clean in the regular season, staying clean early in races is so important. We have to keep an eye on that scenario for all those drivers that have one. It could hurt them, to have a points penalty, or to have a win encumbered, or to even face a suspension. It's just tough. And this is around the time when you have to start being more aggressive, especially for those drivers that are having to try and get wins and battling this Ford team is so tough, man. So Sonoma, we'll keep a close eye on that. Let's talk now about these drivers that have already been eliminated and who are battling for the top 10. Fractured, you're in that group. You've got Beloved behind you. You got West behind you. You got Terrier behind you. How are you feeling about this battle? And what's your mindset? Because I don't think you've ever been in this kind of battle before. So how is it different for you as compared to battling for the chase?
I mean, I've been around this league for a while. I've seen a lot of situations. I may not have seen this before, but I'm not in any panic mode at all. I actually feel pretty comfortable where I'm at right now, because I'm racing for something different, and that's what's in my mind. I'm not racing for Chase anymore. I'm not racing the Fords necessarily. I'm not racing anybody. I'm racing for myself, and really myself only. So right now, I think I'm just kind of sitting here. I don't see much of a threat from Beloved right now. However, Beloved has 2 top 10s in the first 2 races. I think Wes is a bit on the concerning side. I think he's faster than me on track, but we'll see how he's able to advance through everything. But other than that, and I mean, Terrier, man, I don't know if I feel confident about Terrier making a run, but I think me, Wes, and Beloved, I'm not really worried about anyone below. What I'm worried about is when people start getting eliminated. And the six cutoff. If you've got guys like Slothy that are out of the cut, like yourself that are out of the cut, if that's what happens, then it's going to be quite interesting to see how it all goes down. I'm not in any panic mode. I feel pretty good about my season right now, even though not making the chase. I haven't been in this position, but hey, I'm okay with it. It's not something that's concerning me at all, so I feel pretty good about it.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to get that perspective because, obviously, again, this is your first time ever being in this type of position before, and and
Okay.
everything. So, getting your perspective on that is very helpful. So we appreciate that. And for these guys that are around you, trying to get in, even Penslow, who hadn't logged in a single point. A lot of these guys, the threat is, or the problem is now that they will see the qualifier next season, and that qualifier race is going to be so different than any other qualifier race that has ever happened in KMR. It would have started last season, but obviously last season we didn't have enough to actually run the qualifier race. Everybody that was there said thank you God when that happened, because they didn't have to run that race. But this season it ain't gonna happen like that. It's a guarantee. So you don't want to be in that qualifier race. Anything can happen, and then you're sitting there as a hot seat in this series, and instead of running. So gonna be very, very interesting to see that. Okay, as we start to wrap things up, we'll keep an eye on both those battles and everything, and see how that all pops up. The attendance has been great, so I want to give a shout out to everyone who has been attending, and everything. Thank you very much, you guys. Consistent attendance makes the league fun the way it's intended to be. And so as the league continues to grow, please continue to run, because with the attendance like this, a couple seasons, the league expands and changes everything. And so instead of worrying about finishing in the top 10, you may be worried about finishing in the top 20. Something just to keep in mind as the league expands. All right, so let's see where we're at here and kind of start wrapping things up just a little bit. All right, just real quick. Before we wrap things up here, I just want to make everybody aware that next season's schedule is being created as we speak. So, by all means, please, as we go along, please, if you have not had a hand in creating the schedule and you are interested in doing so, and I have not already messaged you, I'm not talking about those that I've already messaged a few. But if you have never had the opportunity to help create the schedule, I've not gotten in contact with you, but you are interested, and that's for either the Trucks, X, or Cup series. Anybody in those three series, if you are interested, please message me. The schedule is about halfway complete, so please message me. And all you have to do is just simply list 3 tracks that you would like to visit next season, like that you will want to be on the schedule. List those 3 tracks. They will be listed or put in the order that you list them. There can be up to 4 repeat visits of a track before that track is eliminated. So list the tracks, we'll get them down, and then the schedule will be ready for next season. And then you'll get an opportunity to see the schedule posted on the website sometime in the off season. And then you'll know where you had a hand in creating that schedule, and you'll see what other tracks were selected by other drivers in the schedule. So please keep that in mind as well. All right, so to wrap things up, Truck Series heads to Gateway for the second to the final race of the season. We will crown a champion at Daytona. In the meantime, for Worldwide Tech or Gateway, Fractured, who you got winning a pole? Who you got winning the race?
For the Truck Series,
Yes.
pole will be Foreign. Race win will be Wes.
All right. Wes has definitely been strong, so Wes is always a good bet in that series. All right, moving on to the X Series. It will join the Cup Series at Sonoma. So, for the Sonoma race for the X Series, who you got winning a pole? Who you got winning a race?
For the X Series, I'm going to give the pole to Amari and the race win to Hindu.
All right. They are teammates in the Cup Series, so it will make sense that they work together out there on the racetrack, probably in preparation for the Cup Series. as they also head to the Sonoma race. Who you got winning a pole? Who you got winning a race?
For the Cup Series, I'm going to give the pole position to Wes and the race win to Knight.
All right, Nightfall getting himself into the next round after starting a bit behind. All right, so you can tune in. First of all, will there be a broadcast for the Trucks and X Series?
Truck Series, there will be a broadcast. The Xfinity Series, there will not. My high school basketball team's starting to get into tournament time, and there is a tournament game at 7 o'clock, so there will not be an X Series broadcast.
All right, so as you heard, Truck Series, you can catch that broadcast live on Twitch channel Jaron Hazen, and then later on you can watch the replay of it there on KMR TV 105 The Drive. I will not be present, so unless Paint or somebody is able to broadcast that race, there will not be a broadcast for that weekend. So we apologize. You won't be missing nothing for the regular season race there at Sonoma and the Sonoma race there. We'll get you filled in. So stay tuned for the speed report because there will be one next Thursday. Same bat, hopefully. Same bat time, same bat channel. This has been Sam Cook and Fractured Chain, and this is KMR signing off.
See you guys.